I just could not stand her. I had to drink vodka at all costs. And if that meant stabbing her to death, that's what happened. So what? That's it. That's what you're asking me. I'm telling you, that's it.
What you just heard is a man confessing to killing his own mother, not in a moment of panic, not in denial, but with a chilling kind of calm. A 40-year-old man, living in his parents' home, supported by them financially, cared for through years of psychiatric crises. And on the afternoon of August 9th, 2024, he picked up a kitchen knife and ended his mother's life. His father barely survived. This is the story of Kenneth Mortimer, told through police body camera footage, 911 calls, neighborhood witness interviews, and the interrogation recording that lays bare exactly what happened inside that house on Palm Hill Lane in Green Township, Ohio. This is not just a crime story. It is a warning about what happens when the mental health system fails and when a family's love is met with violence. Stay with us, because this story gets more disturbing the deeper we go.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I live at 3365 Palm Hill Lane, and my neighbor's down the street. It looked like somebody ran out the yard. They were on the porch yelling help. It looks like a man was stabbing a lady and just dragged her body back inside her house.
What happened, man? Is your wife here too? Was she attacked? Where is she stabbed? I don't think there's much we can do on that one. Kenneth Mortimer, gonna be their son. Mortimer, I'm sorry, last name Mortimer.
So what else did you see?
I came home, got out of my truck, and I heard a lady frantically yelling, help, help, help.
Okay.
I looked around, looked down. I saw she just come out the door. Guy followed her out.
Okay. Do you know who that was?
I have no idea who they are.
Okay.
No, all I saw.
Okay.
And I saw she went down, and the guy over the top of her just doing this.
Okay.
And then he went inside.
Okay.
And I'm just, for a second, like, did I just see what I thought I saw?
Yeah.
I waited a minute. She didn't get up. I called 911. He came back out, yelled something. I couldn't hear what it was. Grabbed her feet, just rubbed her ass inside.
Okay.
Her head was bouncing off the step. The screen door was smacking her in the head.
Okay.
Then he came back out, had a bag and something else in his hand, got into his car. I called 911 back. The guy who did the stab is leaving in a Honda. It's gray in color. Gave him what plate I could get off of it.
Okay.
Gave him a description. That's when I noticed the old guy walking around. He was walking around the yard.
Okay.
It looked like he was covered in blood.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody talked to you yet, but who did this?
My son,
Okay, and what's his name?
Kenneth,
What happened?
he just went crazy, grabbed a knife and started stabbing her.
Okay. Did he stab both you and, is that your wife? Okay, he stabbed both of you? Okay. Where's the knife at now?
Tom Mortimer, 75 years old, had just been stabbed 3 times, once in the head, once in the neck, once in the chest. And the first thing he did when officers arrived was try to direct them to his wife. He wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about Barbara. Barbara Mortimer, also 75, had been stabbed twice in the head and once in the neck, severing her carotid artery. These were not survivable injuries. At 4:15 that afternoon, she was declared dead at the scene. The man who did this was their youngest son, Kenneth, 40 years old. He had lived with his parents on and off for 25 years and had moved back in permanently around 2015. He had no job at the time of the attack. He had a documented psychiatric history, a criminal record that included arrests in both Ohio and Michigan, and he had been involuntarily committed to psychiatric hospitals multiple times. His parents had tried to get him help repeatedly, and on this particular afternoon, when they mentioned calling the crisis unit one more time, something inside Kenneth snapped. What followed was one of the most disturbing interrogation recordings in recent memory. A man who barely tried to hide what he did and who seemed more angry about the circumstances of his life than about the life he had just taken.
We read him as right as he was because he was already spilling stuff immediately. So.
All right, my man. What's in the pocket down here?
Nothing. I already checked it. I thought unless you put something in there. My mom's wedding, maybe, I don't know.
If you faggy-ass motherfuckers didn't drive me down to that hospital the last week of January, this shit would never happen. Received a call from Kenneth Mortimer. He stated he murdered his family and asked the complainant to help him. The complainant is a friend of his and has not spoken to him in 10 years. But he did say to the complainant that he had been hallucinating I was waiting to help or pick him up. Clayton said no. Clayton advised him to call the cops and turn him something.
You're gay. Can I please get a glass of water?
Not yet.
Why not? So if I have an alcohol problem, do you guys have to take me to the hospital, or do you not really have to take me to the hospital? Because I'm gonna have a seizure around like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay, I mean, if we get to that point, we'll call for an ambulance for you, okay?
Well, I mean, I thought if you had an alcohol use disorder, you would be taken to the hospital to get fluids or whatever.
Not necessarily.
So how many people have you heard of dying in custody because of alcohol withdrawal?
We haven't had any.
Okay, well I guess this will be the first, because I'm gonna be banging my head against something around. They told me they were gonna make me take a shot of Invega every month for the rest of my life. They drove me from the hospital to a Summit Behavioral Health Center, and the judge and the red-haired girl were laughing during my hearing time.
Before the formal interrogation even begins, Kenneth is already telling officers pieces of his story, fragments of a life that had been circling the psychiatric system for years. Invega is an antipsychotic medication, typically used to treat schizophrenia and related conditions. It's given as a monthly injection in cases where daily medication compliance is a concern. Kenneth clearly resented it deeply. He had spent time in a psychiatric hospital in Michigan in 2022, 5 months, by his own account, following an arrest there for a road rage incident. He'd also been arrested in Ohio for public indecency. His parents had been involved in arranging psychiatric interventions for him multiple times. Neighbors confirmed that after Kenneth's friend, a young man named Andy, passed away roughly a decade prior, the family had essentially isolated Kenneth. They stopped allowing him to see friends. Whether this was to protect him or to manage him, the effect was the same. Kenneth's world shrank to the 4 walls of his parents' home. And now, 2 detectives were sitting down with him to find out what exactly had happened inside that home.
And you're still living on Palm Hill?
I guess so.
That's what you call home?
Yeah.
Okay. What's a good phone number for you, Ken?
513-614-3489. Why are you asking me what my phone number is?
Well, because I need it for this paperwork. And I'm going to ask some other questions that I don't mean to be offensive, but we just have to ask them for our records, okay? So, did you finish high school? Did you graduate?
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
Probably a couple months.
Okay. So, how long have you been living with mom and dad?
Since on and off, pretty much for 25 years, but I've been living there since like 2015, pretty much is when I moved back in.
Where was the last place you worked?
I delivered food for DoorDash for 6 months last year.
Okay. And that was your only source of income?
Yeah.
How are you, like, paying the bills now, or?
I don't have any bills. They just buy my food and buy me just my food and my gas and stuff.
Okay, so mom and dad support you financially with, how do you pay for your car?
I don't, well, why are you asking me this?
Well, I'm just trying to, I don't know you, Ken, so I'm just trying to get to know you a little.
I don't care. No. Don't try to get to, let's skip that part.
Okay.
Just don't try to get to know me.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
What else do you want to talk about?
Well, obviously you had a rough day, and I'm trying to get to understand why you had such a rough day.
I don't care. I spent 5 months in a psychiatric hospital in Michigan in 2022.
Okay.
So I don't care about anything.
What were you arrested for? I
pulled up to some lady and hit a little dent in her car and told her to suck my goddamn. And she said, lick my motherfucker. I spent 7 months in jail and 5 months in a hospital.
So 12 months in Michigan.
Yeah.
And when you came back to Ohio in 2022?
The end of 2022, yeah.
Okay, and you moved in immediately with mom and dad?
Yeah.
Okay. So, since 2022, how have you been getting along with mom and dad?
I don't see why it matters. I don't know why you're saying that.
Because, like I said, I'm trying to understand the situation.
I don't want to. You don't need to understand the situation. Everything happened. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know why you want to know why.
The detectives are doing something very deliberate here. They're not rushing. They're not pushing hard for a confession. They already have one. Kenneth told his friend Michael he had killed his family. There is blood on his clothes, blood in his car, and a father in the hospital who named him as the attacker. What the detectives need now is the why, and they're allowing Kenneth to take his time getting there. It's a technique. Keep the subject calm, keep them talking, and let the story come out naturally. And Kenneth, despite his resistance, despite his contempt for the process, does want to talk. He just wants to talk on his own terms. The more you watch this interrogation, the more a picture emerges. Not just of a man who committed a terrible act, but of a family under enormous, years-sang strain. A mother and father who loved their son, who kept trying to help him, and who paid a price that no parent should ever have to pay. But before we get to the motive, Kenneth tells the detectives exactly what happened.
Where was Dad when that happened?
He was sitting on the couch.
So your dad was on the couch when that happened?
Yeah.
And then what about Mom? What was Mom doing when that happened?
When I stabbed him, she stood up and she went, ah! I guess I just stabbed her. I don't really remember. She just started going outside and I just started stabbing her more stuff. My dad just kept on sitting there. So
your dad stayed on the couch and your mom tried to go outside, or did she get outside?
She got outside and then my dad just stayed sitting on the couch.
Okay. And where'd your mom go when she got outside?
She just didn't make it down the steps. She was just on the front porch.
Did she come back in, or did you?
I dragged her back in.
Okay, so you dragged her back into the house?
Yeah.
And then what was your dad doing at that point?
He was still sitting on the couch. So I think at one point he got up and started walking to the back door, and he started saying, "Stop." He said, "You're killing me. Just stop, please." He said, "I'm begging you, please stop." And I was just like,
what did you stab your mom and dad with?
The biggest kitchen knife in the house.
What, when you say the biggest, about how long was it?
It was like that long.
Okay. Was it like a bread knife or a?
No, it was a big knife. It was a big, long knife.
Where is that knife now, do you know?
I don't know, it's probably sitting at my house unless you guys took it as evidence.
You thought about doing this stuff before?
What?
Have you thought about hurting your mom and dad before?
No, I'm not answering that question.
Why not?
I'm just not.
Have you thought about hurting yourself before?
I'm not answering that question either.
Have you ever thought about hurting anybody else?
I'm not answering that question.
Why won't you answer those questions?
I'm just not.
You gotta be a reason.
No, there's no reason.
So did you know, or do you know that it's wrong to stab your dad?
I couldn't take it anymore. They were just stressing me out.
I couldn't take it anymore. 4 words that define this entire case. Kenneth Mortimer was a 40-year-old man who had not held a steady job in years, who had cycled in and out of psychiatric institutions, who had no independent life, and who lived entirely off his parents' generosity. And yet, by his own account, it was his parents who were stressing him out. Now, it's important to be careful here. Stress, frustration, even deep resentment, these are things many people experience. They do not lead most people to pick up a kitchen knife. What we are seeing in Kenneth's case is the convergence of untreated or inadequately treated severe mental illness, long-term social isolation, substance dependency, and a complete absence of any independent coping structure. That combination, over enough time, built into something catastrophic. But the specific trigger, the thing that turned a tense afternoon into a murder, is coming. And when Kenneth finally says it out loud, it is equal parts heartbreaking and infuriating.
What was her main complaint with you today?
I cut up the shower curtain because the sound of the shower was stressing me out, so I cut a piece off, and then I had to use a towel to put outside the bathtub because water was leaking down, and she found a towel with a pretty soaked heavy towel, and she got upset.
Okay. When did you cut the shower curtain?
I don't know.
Was it today? Was it yesterday?
A few weeks ago. I've been putting the towel down to stop the water from getting on the floor outside the bathtub.
And then she's been kind of on you about that for the last couple of weeks?
No, she just found out today that that's what I was doing, and she just got upset and was furious, and she went out to, I guess, buy a shower curtain at Target or Walmart or something.
How long was she kind of griping at you and yelling at you today about it?
I don't know, probably for like half an hour.
Yeah, and after half an hour of that, you got pretty mad?
I don't remember. I just left.
When did you leave?
I don't remember. I just left a couple times today, and I went out and I bought a couple beers, and I went to the park, and I went to Mount Airy Forest and drove around, and then I drove back to the house.
Well, I want to know what happened today, is where we're going.
I told them to shut up. I told them just to shut up. They were just blabbering about something on the credit card statement. And I just told them they weren't talking about anything. I told them to shut up. And then my mom said, you need to leave. She said, you're not staying here tonight. She said, go find a park bench or something. And I told her just shut up again. And then my dad said, should we call the police? And my mom said, the police aren't going to do anything. We need to call the crisis unit. And I just grabbed the knife, stabbed my dad in the fucking head.
Why didn't you want them to call the crisis unit?
Because they're stupid. What do you mean? They're fucking stupid.
The crisis unit is?
Yeah.
You haven't had any luck dealing with those folks?
No, I haven't.
I can't understand, how you feel. That's why I'm trying to get at how you feel and what set you off today.
I just told you they were picking up their phones to call the crisis unit, and that was the last straw. I had to stay in the hospital, and the first time it was ridiculous. And the second time it was even more ridiculous, and then the third time it was a joke. And then the fourth time it was 5 months in Michigan, which was just boring. And then it was the fifth time, which they called the crisis unit on me.
5 times. His parents had called for psychiatric intervention 5 times, and each time, in Kenneth's mind, the system had failed him, locked him up, medicated him, treated him like a problem to be managed. Whether or not that characterization is fair, what matters in this moment is that Kenneth believed it completely. And when he heard his parents about to make that call a 6th time, something in him decided, this time, it won't happen. What is so painful about this case is that Barbara Mortimer was trying to help her son. Even that day, the day she died, she had reportedly attended a seminar on mental health in Indiana. She was still learning, still trying to figure out how to support Kenneth. She wasn't giving up on him. And when she told him to find a park bench that night, it wasn't cruelty. It may have been exhaustion. It may have been an ultimatum born out of years of trying every other option. We will never know exactly what was in her mind in those final moments.
That's why all this is happening. You guys made me deal with a psychiatrist in the first week of February. This would have never happened. I just told you I have spent too many times in a hospital, and that was it. I could not go back to the hospital that night. I had to drink vodka at all costs. And if that meant stabbing her to death, that's what happened. So what? That's it. That's what you're asking me. I'm telling you, that's it.
Did you know it was wrong to stab your mother to death?
I don't want to talk about that. I don't care. I don't want to talk about that.
Do you love your mom?
I just told you. I have a feeling you guys are just going to start getting so weird on me. I just could not stand her. I really had a connection with her until she started to act like she was going to kill herself, and that was it. She acted like she was going to kill herself last April or May, and then that was it. She said, you need to go find a park bench tonight. You're not staying here. I told her to shut up again, and then I think that's when my dad suggested to call the police. And my mom said they're not going to do anything, just call the crisis unit. And that was it. I just grabbed the knife. And that's it.
Do you recall exactly what happened?
Yeah, I stabbed him right. I either stabbed him in the head or I stabbed him in his abdomen. And that was it. And I don't want to talk about it anymore.
And then Mom got up off the couch, went outside. Did you stab her on the front porch?
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right, Ken, we're just trying to put it all together so we can understand. All right? It's hard looking from the outside in. I understand, you've been dealing with this for a long time. We've been dealing with, this for a few hours, meaning, we don't know you from anybody else. You're the only one here that we can get these answers from right now. That's why we're trying to do this, okay?
And there it is, a full confession, not coerced, not manipulated, given freely, almost willingly, by a man who seemed more irritated by the process than troubled by what he had done. The detectives handled themselves professionally throughout, patient, methodical, calm, in the face of someone whose emotional responses were deeply erratic. But the interview raises something important that goes beyond this specific case. How many families across the country are in a situation similar to the Mortimers, caring for an adult child with severe mental illness, cycling through the crisis system, making calls that result in short-term interventions, but no long-term solutions? The Mortimer family's daughter said it plainly at the scene. "You know how many times we have called the police, and they just don't believe us. We've done everything we could." This is not a defense of what Kenneth did. There is no defense for it. But it is a recognition that the tragedy did not begin on August 9th, 2024. It had been building for years, and many people in many places are living inside that same slow accumulation of crisis and exhaustion, waiting for something to break.
You know how many times I've called the police and they just don't believe us? They just don't fucking believe us. They don't believe us. Please listen. Please listen. When people tell you that they are in danger.
System failed us. I mean, there was threats left and right. We've done everything we could.
Does he have any friends? Like, did he isolate himself from everybody?
Like, his parents isolated him. Like, after Andy passed away, I tried to take him, like, the thing for his layout and stuff, and his mom and dad wouldn't let me see him. Like, they, like, were like, he's not allowed to be around anyone anymore.
Yeah, at this point you're under arrest for murder, attempted murder, and felonious assault, okay? That's what you're going to the Justice Center for. Alright?
Why are you guys getting so stupid? Why am I here? Why am I here, and why do I have to listen to you? Who's getting stabbed to death and doesn't get out of the couch? Who does? You're getting stabbed to death. Get out. Run for your life. You're just sitting there on the couch, not doing anything.
Even in those final moments before booking, Kenneth is not expressing remorse. He is not broken down. He is arguing, complaining, blaming. The man who had sat on his parents' couch for years, whose food and gas and car were paid for by two people in their mid-70s, was criticizing his father for not fighting back hard enough. It is a level of detachment from reality, or from basic human conscience, that is difficult to comprehend. Tom Mortimer survived. He was taken to the hospital with 3 stab wounds and underwent treatment. His wife of many decades was gone. His son had done it, and as he was lifted into the ambulance, the officers quietly decided among themselves that they would wait. They would not tell him Barbara was dead. Not yet. Not in the back of that ambulance. That moment, that quiet, human decision by officers at a crime scene, is one of the few tender things in an otherwise brutal story.
Thomas, we're trying to get some vitals and get an IV started on you, okay?
Oh shit. His wife is dead. Does he know? No. You gonna tell him? I'm gonna wait for the detective to get.
Stay out of the road for now for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, on the
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just yeah. There's still detectives coming in, so I don't want anyone to get run over. Yeah.
Whoever this person is that did this saw him plainly. Like, they drove right by him standing on the corner. Can you even tell us if they caught them? Because I'm kind of concerned. What if this person is going to come back tonight since he was an eyewitness?
We have a lot of information, so
Okay.
it's just a matter of time. I mean, we're gonna obviously work as hard as we can to find them, and it's gonna be quick.
Several of the neighbors said they saw the son next door, so I think we're pretty solid on that's who it was.
I just want to make sure he's gone for sure.
We cleared the house.
Okay.
Tyler and I.
Okay.
Cleared the house, and we have witnesses saying he drove away.
Okay.
The community on Palm Hill Lane came together that afternoon. Neighbors who had called 911, neighbors who gave statements, neighbors who brought towels to help apply pressure to Tom's wounds while officers waited for more supplies. In a neighborhood described as safe, quiet, and ideal for retirement. This is the kind of place where people look out for each other. This was a rupture that nobody was prepared for. And yet, some of them were not entirely surprised. The neighbor who had once been friends with Kenneth described watching a young man slowly disappear from the community over the course of a decade. People could see that something was not right inside the Mortimer home, but seeing it and being able to stop it are two very different things. What happened after Kenneth's arrest moved quickly, by legal standards, though it still took just over a year to reach resolution.
Get to some breaking news happening this evening about a Green Township man accused of stabbing his mother to death and then seriously hurting his own father.
Kenneth Mortimer was indicted in Hamilton County. His bond was set at $2 million. Questions about his competency to stand trial were raised almost immediately, given his extensive psychiatric history. But by late 2024, he was found to be mentally competent and therefore legally responsible for his own actions. On August 8, 2025, nearly 1 year to the day after he killed his mother, Kenneth Mortimer pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter, attempted murder, kidnapping, and felonious assault. As part of the plea agreement, prosecutors reduced the original charge of aggravated murder. He was sentenced to a minimum of 45 years in prison. He will be 86 years old before he is even eligible for release.